Hello and welcome to the very first Katara International Chess Tournament. My name is Fiona Steil-Antoni and with me
Alex Lopez.
And today we are going to take you through all the fast and furious bullet action that will be on display on Lichess. The Katara Bullet Arena A, the first of 3 qualifiers, is about to start, as you can see, in just under 7 minutes. And what a tournament it's going to be. Actually, first in the chat, and we see you all on Twitch, also on YouTube, was International Master Hans Niemann, who is one of the 1,772 players hoping to get one of those coveted top 5 spots, which will take the players through to the final, where the one and only
Magnus Carlsen awaits.
Absolutely. So there are a few commands in the chat that you can use throughout the event. I think the mods will be here to help me out. But let's first talk about the tournament a little bit. So this is a tournament sponsored by Katara and held in association with the Qatar Chess Association, the Ministry of Culture and Sports of the state of Qatar, and held and hosted by Lichess. And it is an arena format. Also, if you're watching this, it is not too late to sign up yet. One of the great things about this tournament is that it's open to everyone. The only requirements are that you have played 15 rated games on Lichess. And here is the link to the tournament. You'll find all the information that you need on the front page of Lichess. And yeah, we have some big names. Ali Reza is here at the top. We'll look at all the players in a second, but it's gonna be a hectic day.
Yeah, these guys are competing for, to my knowledge at least, the biggest prize fund in online bullet tournament history. I have not encountered a bigger one than this, and you can see the heavy hitters are showing up, led by none other than Alireza Firouzja.
Absolutely. So a prize fund of $10,000, I think, never seen before for bullet. So the time control is going to be 1+0, so no increment. The way we like it, we're guaranteed to see a lot of drama. I also have to say it's very early in the morning. Well, for us it's not too early, but for example, where Hans is in the United States, it must be in the middle of the night, depending on where he is, but I think he's on the East Coast, so probably the middle of the night. But to accommodate for players from all time zones, there's not just one qualifying arena, but 3. I'll very quickly show you guys the schedule. So as you can see, this right now is Arena A, and then 6 hours from now at 3 p.m. Central European, there is Arena B, and then tonight, 12 hours from now, Arena C. And then on Wednesday, tomorrow is a day off. On Wednesday, we have the finals, which will be a 16-player knockout. And Magnus is the wild card. He is seeded into that, so he awaits there. And 5 players from each arena will qualify. So a lot of players for few spots. It will be very tough. Alex, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Who do you think are some of the favorites to qualify today?
Well, I think the top favorite is the current top seed. Let's face it, Alireza has been. Not only is he the top junior chess player in the world by rating, he's over 2,700. Last year was a huge year for him over the board, but importantly, he's also been capable of taking it to Magnus Carlsen in tournaments that have been held on Lichess, on chess.com, on chess24, on chess24 in these Blitz Cups. He's been able to take it, so I would say he's the favorite, the clear favorite, and I think the biggest threat to Magnus Carlsen. However,
it's also, speaking of Alireza, it's important to mention just 2 days ago there was the titled arena on Lichess, which I think is Apart from this one, the biggest bullet tournament there is out there, which regularly sees, all the top GMs. Magnus was playing 2 days ago, maybe also trying to get some warm-up for the finals on Wednesday, but Alireza absolutely dominated the field, so he will be, in top form and top confidence, although confidence is not something that Alireza lacks.
But we have to say, Magnus shows up for the events that matter the most to him, and while he's hyper competitive, he always wants to win whatever he plays in. He was playing that titled arena surrounded by a couple of friends, having a bit of fun, streaming, and I think it's going to be a different scenario.
I think one of whom is in the chat with us, because it is Opperspiel, said he is on the wrong account. I believe that is LM Asios, who is one of the team as well. It has to be said, cheating is a big thing these days, but the whole Lichess mod team will be on the case. Also, tomorrow, one of the reasons I think tomorrow was left as a free day is that all the standings, all the games will be verified, and only tomorrow I think it will be definitely announced who is making it through to the final.
Yeah, and in terms of other huge names, we're starting in under a minute. Some names that stand out to me here is, for example, Penguin. He's in third spot, considered by many to be one of the, and rightly so, one of the greatest bullet experts on the planet. Perhaps the fastest man alive. Yeah. So he's one to watch out for, capable of winning any event and going all the way to the finals. In second seed, we should mention Alexander Bortnik, huge expert at Blitz and at Bullet, and you can see sporting a 3,000 plus rating, the only one currently besides Alireza. We're seeing a lot of other very, very strong players here. Parham Maghsoodloo from Iran, incredibly hardworking player, famously has claimed to work about 20 hours a day on his chess. So he's going to be looking to make a deep run into this event, and I think really anybody in the top 10 here can challenge all grandmasters with the exception of Mutdeep Pro, but he is more than grandmaster strength when it comes to these events.
We are off, Alex.
We're off. Let's go.
Shall we start with Alireza? Now I've lost him already. We'll start with a few games. What happened there? Alireza does not have a game yet. Maybe he's not there yet. What is going on with that? Who should we follow then to start with? Shall we follow Penguin? Let's watch some games of Penguin to get us all ready for the day. And by the way, as is usual in Lichess, you will see a lot of top clashes from the start. Also, we haven't talked about the Lichess Arena format yet, but it's not a Swiss tournament or anything like that. The players will be playing non-stop for an hour and a half, one game after the other. We will focus on the games, but you will see the standings on top of our camera at all times. And remember, top five is where it will be at.
Yeah, and here we see already Penguin is going for the kill, but White with the bishop here is possibly going to be able to defend. And well, White's up a piece, but we're seeing 3 pawns for Black and a little bit of an attack, but this is a really tough battle already. One of the things about the arena is it pairs you at the start already, throws you in the deep end. Are we going to be able to see some berserking, Fiona?
I think maybe if he has to towards the end. I think if he's left with no choice, but I think not from the start. Also, for those of you who are watching who might not be aware, what is this berserking? What is Alex talking about? So on Lichess, you have the option of clicking the famous berserk button. It is the scissors symbol at the top. Also, if you're playing, hopefully you're not listening to us, but berserking will halve your time.
Look at that speed.
Wow.
That speed from Penguin is simply incredible. He was able to hold for a while. I think you were saying about the berserking, it will have your time, but it will give you extra points, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does it work exactly? How many points?
You tell me. You are the bullet expert.
So you can get, if you go on a streak, you can actually double your points, but you have your time. And sometimes you get only one more point, depending. We're going to see here what Penguin...
and he did Berserk.
What Penguin does, he goes for the Berserk here. So what he's going to get is, under normal circumstances, you get 2 points. He's actually going to get the possibility of getting an extra point. And, what we'll do is we'll actually show it to make it a little bit more clear after this game what we mean.
I think what Penguin might do is he might Berserk, he might have set himself some kind of limit, like I will Berserk against opponents, let's say under 2000 rating. Maybe some strategy like this. It is a good strategy at the start, you know, to take a big time, to try and make a stride right from the start, because it has to be said 90 minutes is quite short. And those pawns.
What an absolute destruction. So let's see if we can see actually the tournament. So what you see here is the 2 points, but here, due to the Berserk, we're seeing this extra points here with 4 points. If you Berserk from the start, you can get 3 points. But of course, for example, the current leader, he's Berserked all of his games, and he's leading in spite of this loss, because you get, instead of the normal 2 points, you get 3 points for the Berserk, but of course a bigger risk of losing here.
Chess Warrior 04. We'll try and talk about the players as we go along. Shall we watch some games from Chess Warrior 04? He's none other than Nordibek Abdusatorov, very promising player, and he's just taken the lead. He was the youngest. Why can I not get his camera, Alex? Let's go to his TV and watch a couple of games from Abdusatorov. Another, you know, I think the young players might have a bit of an edge. I know there's some streamers, for example, Gata Kamsky said on stream the other day, yes, I will play. I asked him, will you play? He said, yes, Fiona, I will play, but come on, I'm 46 years old, you know, I cannot compete with these young and fast guys, but I think there might also be some surprises. We shall see. I see in the chat some people were talking about Ali Reza, that it's 9 a.m. for him, a bit early. We'll see if he has arrived. For now, let's watch maybe 1 or 2 games by Nordibek.
Yeah, so one of the absolute biggest promises in world chess. I've had the displeasure of playing against him a few times, and he's a monster. And there's a story about Nordibek that was told by an elite chess player recently. I'm not sure, was it by Gelfand or by Kramnik? I believe it was by Gelfand, who Boris Gelfand, former challenger to the throne, he was told, can you recommend some books to Nordibek, some resources? And he said, yeah, sure, of course. And so he produced an email with a list of a bunch of different books worth reading and different resources. And Nordibek apparently got back to Gelfand and said, you know, the problem with this list is that I've actually read everything on the list. And it was,
I hadn't heard that. I wasn't familiar with the story.
So he's an incredibly hardworking player, and we can see here he simply steamrolled his opponent.
Yeah. So we'll wait, since I think we have his camera on, we'll wait for his next game to start. Should never take more than a few seconds to get a new game. And there we go. He plays a humble player with a humble rating compared to his own of 2183. Will we see some berserking? No berserking from Mr. Chess Warrior.
Yeah, very professional, and both players getting their pieces out at the moment. Already black has a little bit of a central advantage. Nothing major. White is playing here for this e5 square. He'll probably support with f4. He doesn't. He plays a little bit more conservatively. Could it be because of the fact his opponent is much higher rated than him? And now we have this pawn structure. It's called hanging pawns, and they're called like that because they cannot be supported by other pawns. The downside is they can be harder to defend. The upside is you have a bit more of a space advantage, and black's piece is overall very, very well placed. So I like his position, going for something aggressive, and the knight on g3 is hanging. White does get back his pawn, but the rook, unfortunately, it's so fast. Here we just saw this combination, black grabbing that pawn, and well, we're off.
Well, let's watch this one, because Man United Pro, I think that's how his name is supposed to be read out. He is only an IM, but an incredibly strong blitz player. He's one of the players who on Saturdays, 2 days ago in the titled arena, got a Magnus scalp. So he is capable, of beating anyone.
Yeah, and I think Nordberg may have missed this check. He decides to give up the pawn on e5. Now you should take back with this pawn if you took this way. There was rook e1 ideas. So black has grabbed the pawn. On the other hand, his king on f8 is far from ideal, and white actually playing f5 to open up lines. Threat of checkmate here with the queen and the bishop. That's covered by Abdusattorov. And now the question is, black is up a pawn, but what do you do with, in fact, up 2 pawns, but what do you do with your king?
Can he try and get the king to h7, right there?
That's what he's going for. And that's, this move h5, I think, very, very useful move. You might even go h4 and try to bring that rook in as well as protect the pawn. So it's a good idea. Right now, the threat is bishop takes g6. You wouldn't be able to take back because of the king. h4 played, and now rook h6. Yeah, very, very nice play from Matti Pro. And I think he's actually managed to solve his problems. I think now rook e6 again, great move, and we're seeing the class of Matti Pro. White is up against it.
And look at that pawn on g3. It's a monster.
Yeah, how are you going to combat this? I'm not so sure. Rook g4. Rook g4. Maybe g2 was a little bit premature. Now it's harder to defend this pawn. But queen f3 coming in, grabbing this pawn, going for the mating threat. And Abdusattorov is defending incredibly well. Queen e3, seeking the queen exchange. White is happy with the draw.
See it? Black, no, of course doesn't want the draw. He's up on time, he's up 2 pawns. And Abdusattorov just resigns. I think it's very rare to see these kind of resignations.
It shows the level of respect for Matti Pro's game.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna switch away, but Chess Warrior is playing against our good friend Meneer Manja, international master from the Netherlands, a household name on Lead Chess. Also a big bullet expert. I mean, they have very similar ratings, so we'll watch this last game from Abdusattorov before moving away, and we will see. And Meneer is actually, as we can see, if you guys are new to watching broadcasts, so the numbers that you see above and below the player ratings indicate their current position, their current standing in the tournament. So as we can see, Meneer is actually the current tournament leader. I have no doubt that he will have berserked a few games to get there.
And I think, black is hanging in there, but the pawns are a little bit weaker, and so for sure, white is pressing here. White has to defend against the threat against this queen. We're seeing a bunch of pieces come off the board, but this is a problem right up until the end game, and white tackling the pawns. f6 defends the pawn. The bishop is now hanging, so we're seeing a lot of reaction from black. White is keeping up the pressure. This pawn on h5, maybe he'll push a pawn. Now there's no back rank threats, and now the capture, we see a double attack here, and I really like what Chess Warrior is doing. But h3 is a great move because you're threatening checkmate, and now you're gonna be able to get rid of this isolated pawn.
Yeah, Meneer asking a lot of questions here. He still has the 2 pawns that could cause some trouble, the f pawn and the h pawn. First, he's stepping the king out of danger. Abdusattorov does the same, and now will we see a queen exchange? No.
I think white is in strong shape here. We're gonna see another pawn drop, and you see all those weak pawns. They gradually drop.
They all dropped, yeah.
Yeah, and Abdusattorov, very, very strong positional player. He's coming back for more with these checks, and that's a full queen, and that's going to be a resignation. A great game from white.
Absolutely. So let's have a quick look at the current standings. So we see some usual suspects. Oh, Badur Jobava is playing. I had not spotted him. Shall we watch some Badur games? Badur Jobava, a big favorite, a fantastical player, He's capable of beating absolutely anyone, but he's also capable of having some off days. So he's had some huge rating swings. He has been as high as 2750-ish. I mean, he's had very high rating before. He's dropped a bit. So we will see. I think at 2700, he's probably underrated. But I don't know how good he is at bullets, so we'll watch a few games and find out.
Well, he seems to be pretty damn strong. He's making light work here of his opponent, and let's see who he's paired up against the next.
Another regular on the Lead Chess seen, and especially in Bullet.
Very strong Armenian grandmaster, I believe.
Yeah. I always forget, if someone in the chat could remind me, I think it's Martyrosian, but I'm not 100% sure. If people could let me confirm.
So here in this game, we're seeing white has a little bit of a space advantage. Normally that's enough for a slight edge. On the other hand, this bishop right now, it's not the best of the pieces, and black does have his play, and he's grabbing some space on the king side. White is fighting against that. One thing about Joe Baba is he's a very active, aggressive player, but so is
it is like Martyrosian, yeah.
So is Martyrosian. So this is a battle of two incredibly aggressive players. We're probably going to see Queen D7 trying to drive that queen to H3, and Rook G1 is a nice move. If you give the check, I go King F2, and I block against further checks with Rook G2, Bishop E2, beefing up the pawn on F3, and now we're seeing getting the king out of trouble. We're probably going to see blocking. So pretty balanced game for now. The queen is under fire here. However, the king, after this exchange, we're seeing it open up, and I see white under a lot of pressure here. The pawn on F4, the rook on G2, and that's one pawn.
Big pawn.
On top of this, of course, we have this exchange that we should mention. Black is up in exchange, and that was a critical pawn, so there's no chances, and a great game from black.
You know, I think we might actually see today some earlier resignations. I think because it's such a short arena that I think you have to get the right balance between not resigning too early and not giving up without a fight. So I think the players will probably have given some thought to the best strategy today. We'll watch one last Jobava game, and then we'll move on.
Let's do it. And in this game, I think his position is absolutely fantastic here. The white king is stuck in the center of the board. He's trying to escape, picking up more pawns. The bishop is a wonderful piece. The knight is also putting some pressure. He's piling up the pressure of the rooks. You probably want to get out of this X-ray. That's what he does. Moving his queen back. Knight F5, nice resource. You cannot take it because of this this X-ray. But on the other hand, what is it doing? It has to go back, looking for sacrifices here. Black says, no thank you. We're going to cover that. Square. Rook G4, putting pressure on the bishop. The bishop gets out of the way, and we're seeing a check here. We want to move the queen away. We'd love to be able to take this. But
that is a big drop with... We hardly saw that rook. It all happened so fast in Bullet, but that was a big oversight. But this is one of the spots where Badu decides, okay, I will fight on. I'm much higher, quite significantly higher rated. And the white king is still a bit weak, but of course it's a full rook.
Well, queen takes F4. That's a huge move, hitting both of these pieces. Knight F3, a nice find, covering the H2 square and the G5 rook. But now we're going to see Knight H4, typical stuff, overloading that knight that has to guard, and that's one piece, and he also had some pawns, so he's back in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a big... Thankfully, white picks up that big passed pawn, and suddenly I guess white is in control again, but the time situation is getting closer.
Who do you think is going to win this?
I think white is going to win.
I think so too. Although, yeah, I think now once the two pawns, it's too much. Rook and queen, and Jobava does not put him to the test.
So let's go back to the standings. I'm not seeing Alireza. Is Alireza online? I am not seeing. Let us know, chat. It's hard to keep an eye on everything. Let's watch some games of Hans, shall we? Hans, who we'll put him on our TV. He's currently in 24th. He's one of the most promising players from the United States, from USA, from America. And he's been making some huge strides. He's also a fellow streamer. He's had some fantastic results in some big online tournaments. And yeah, I'm very curious to see how he does today. He got off to a reasonable start. He's currently in 24th place. But I think a lot will be decided today in the last half hour or so.
And we're seeing some crazy combinations here. But Queen H6 does stop the threat of mate. Mate was coming here on H8. And I'm not certain if this is the perfect strategy, but it should be enough for a draw. White will keep dropping the queen back. White seems to want even more though. He didn't drop it to G4. And now a nice threat. Rook check is on the cards, and he gets it. That's really, really nice combination.
I have to say, so I'm reading in the chat, that very nice combination. I was very surprised, where is Alireza? He is not online. So I'm curious because people have said before, he's not a morning person. Do you think he could have overslept? Or do you think he's confident enough that he says, okay, 2 arenas is enough to qualify? Because I was sort of expecting to see almost everyone play the first arena to maximize their chances to qualify.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's hard to know what he's thinking.
He's in the same time zone as us. It has to be said, he is in France, so it's 9 a.m. for him. But maybe we will even see him join late. Let's remind everyone that on Lichess, the arenas, if you miss the start, that doesn't mean it's too late to play. You can join at any moment.
And we're seeing here a huge speed battle towards the end. Oh!
This one hurts. Losing on time just before he could take the last pawn. I think we'll move on from Hans. We'll not jinx him further. We'll wait until he makes his way back up the standings, and then we will take... Or shall we watch one more game?
Let's give him a win.
Let's give him one more chance. So he has the black pieces here. No berserking as well. I'm curious to see, how much berserking. So far, I think we only saw one berserk game by Penguin. So I think the players all taking the reasonable approach, which is probably also the right approach.
But Hans is in a little bit of trouble here as well. Nothing major. He has these slightly bad pawns. Actually, he's managed to fix those. Now he's going to e5. So I take back what I said. I think Hans is in good shape here. King g7 just protecting the pawn. And c5 is a nice move, just getting that pawn out of the way. On the other hand, it gives this nice square for the bishop.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried about the black king.
Yeah, and I think you had absolutely every right to be worried. This queen got caught offside here. A little bit too greedy to grab this pawn. Maybe it was necessary to bring that queen to the defense of the king.
So let's move on now. We are done with our jinxing, our unintentional jinx. Shall we watch some games from Wizard98? He is the current leader, and he's a young player from India. I'm not actually sure. Does it say his name on his pro? Let's quickly open his profile or his
Maybe
games.
somebody in the chat.
Yeah, somebody in the chat can let us know who is Wizard98. And Penguin at the moment in a qualifying spot will of course at some point go back. It's Narayan. Okay. Narayan, an absolute blitz monster. I haven't seen him play so much bullet before, but pretty decent bullet rating of 2842, and he is the current leader.
Yeah, and in this game he's putting the squeeze on against Muddeep Pro, whose king is a little bit weak. We're seeing some rook lifting. On the other hand, I'm surprised he didn't grab this pawn. Not interested in taking it. Black is going for this check, but White's king should be safe, and this pawn protected and passed on the 7th rank. Will decide going for a little bit of a cheap shot there, but no dice, and a nice conversion.
Very nice. We'll stick with the wizard Narayanan for a little bit. We see that despite his win, he's dropped to second place. Those things can happen because one more thing we should mention, Alex, maybe you can take a minute to explain it. As you see in the standings right there, in front of the point number, there's this flame icon, which is very, very important in those arena formats. Maybe you can explain what they do.
Yeah, so if you have won 2 games in a row and you're going to your 3rd game, at that point you've got a streak, which means that you're able to get more points, accumulate more points according to this this streak system, this unique system on Lichess basically. So usually you would get like let's say that you're not berserking, you would get 2 points for the first game, 2 points for the second game, and then on the next one you'd get 4 points. That's because of this streak.
Yeah.
Very, very unique system, but it makes it a very exciting system. It also allows you, if you can build momentum, it really sort of increases the value of momentum. If you build that, you're on a good streak, you're winning a bunch of games in a row, you can pass out your opponents very, very fast.
And basically what happened here? that did not go well for Narayanan. We were explaining the streak, and so now his streak is over. Basically, at any point, if you are on fire, if you have the fire streak icon, but you don't win, then you lose it. A draw or a loss, you lose your fire.
And it seems like the jinxing is strong. Continues to be strong here. We've seen a piece dropped, so white is now playing down a piece. He's got another rook, another exchange on the way, and Penguin GM updated version is strong.
He decides that is enough. A question in the chat: any chance Hikaru might be playing one of the qualifiers? I was wondering the same thing. Myself. I guess time will tell. Let's watch a few games from Raunak Sadhvani. He's another very very promising young player from India. He just got his last GM Norman title at the Isle of Man last year.
And what a beautiful position he has. These minor pieces here, so strong in the center. I think you can already start taking this pawn. So he goes for that pawn. Takes it somewhat unusually to me.
But sure also time, white is running out of time. So even if it wasn't, did you prefer bishop takes? Or?
I was a little bit surprised what the idea is here, but I think your point. There's too much time of an edge and too much of a time edge, and I think it does not matter. So this is the player who defeated Narayanan, and now he's up against Raunak Sadhvani. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, we will see. Sorry, Alex, I was just looking at the chat for a second, and once again, welcome to everyone who is watching us either on Twitch or on YouTube. We are approaching the 1 hour mark, so already 25 minutes played with Bullet. It goes so quickly, and Raunak is making, he's making a push, but we're watching a big game here between the current number 2 and 3 in the tournament.
Yeah, the e6 recently a bit of a risky move because now this pawn is going to be weak for a long time, and now he goes d5 and that pawn has dropped, but Black's idea is I want to hit this knight, and if I can put enough pressure on it, this pawn on c2 is going to start to feel the squeeze. We're also seeing some knight c4 possibilities. For now he's going for this pawn. White goes c3. Definitely Black has some piece pressure, but on the other hand, White's up a pawn. Rook e6, a nice idea. In the previous move, by the way, here there were knight f5 ideas with check, so those were stopped, and knight c5 now coming in for knight d3. That stopped. Back to a4 just to try and keep the pressure up on these pawns. You cannot play b3 because you would drop this pawn. Black improves his position, grabbing a bit of space on the queen side, and now we see that exchange and the pressure is paying off. The pawn on b2 does drop, but we see that Black has a nice resource in knight a4, hitting this pawn.
And suddenly it's white who is up a pawn.
Yeah, so white is up this pawn, and I think this pawn is also going to drop here. And that's 2 pawns, and I think it's just a nice conversion.
The time situation now is the last factor, and Bullet being down 5-6 seconds can be a big factor. So we will see if Raunak has the speed. He has a winning position, but will he manage to convert?
I think he's on his way here. I think this is a lot of pawns. Black scrambling back with his knight though. Great play. Knight f5, nice idea. Just getting that knight out of the way.
But a little trick, yeah.
Yes, exactly this one. And so Raunak, very, very sharp actually. With very little time, he's spotting all these little tricks.
And that is that.
Yeah, a 2-second time edge for Black, but it's not going to save him with 1 knight against 2 queens.
Absolutely. So let's go back. Raunak, I guess, or maybe we'll stick with Raunak for one more game, because I mean he has one. And he's playing against Penguin Updated. It's very confusing for our viewers. So the opponent here is not actually Penguin GM. It must be a fan, I guess, because Penguin has the GM title next to his name. And we'll watch some Penguin games very shortly, but we'll watch one last from Raunak. Yeah. I like white here. No? The Black King is going to be under some attack.
Yeah, I think it's a complicated game. The only thing is, this pawn on d3, the last move f4 was a bit of a mistake because...
Very nice tactic.
Yeah, if you take this, there is a nasty check. And so black has picked up an exchange. Now, to be fair, when you said you liked the position, it was just he hadn't played the blunder move to blunder move. So I agreed with you. Like the position was good for white, but that spelled all the difference. And now the pawn on g3 is dropping, and I think with that it's going to be curtains because this rook is doing nothing. Bringing it back to rook d4, trying to stop the bleeding.
Maybe rook g8 was an option. But okay, white wants to create some tricks. He's hoping for a perpetual check, but black says no. I will swap queens and I will convert this endgame.
You could, if you wanted even exchange here. He doesn't go for that. The last hope is that the rook is hanging, and that's it. And we've seen Raunak's speed the last time, and we're going to see probably f6. Maybe some chances for a stalemate. For example, if Raunak were to push this pawn, white is going to try that, and we see the trick being tried. But
very tricky resistance from white.
But it should not be enough. Now Raunak knows no stalemate, and I think we're going to see a conversion.
He's under 10 seconds, but that's plenty of time. I'm almost surprised his opponent, but okay. His opponent we have seen, he's set up some tricks, but now the bishop drops, the last pawn drops, and that's gonna be that. But he's gonna fight until the bitter end.
Incredible resistance though.
But checkmate is the end of the game, and Arm has taken the lead. Where is the real penguin? Let's take 1 second to take a look at the standings. We had the 1 hour mark, so 1/3 through the tournament. Arm is currently in the lead, followed by Raunak, Jasugi, another big name on lichess, and for Bullet. Dropstone, who is Dropstone? You said Bortnik. Shall we watch some?
No, it's Bortnik is not Dropstone.
No. Who is Dropstone again?
Again, we'll have to rely on the chats.
The chat. Oh, then Dropstone is playing Penguin, so let's go there. I think it might be
Dropstone, might be someone like Sarana or something like this, but
it's Paravian. Yeah. Great, thank you very much, Truth. Is this +1 or +2 increment? +0. If you're just joining us now.
No, 95 not possible. It's a pin.
If you're just joining us now, it's just 1 + 0 bullet. So no increment, very fast action. And a nice game, I didn't actually click his TV. And Penguin in 14th and dropping some. Penguin's he's gonna have to hope for a strong last hour. I am sure if he doesn't qualify that we will see him in the second.
Will we see him in the second? Because he's gonna have to get to sleep and wake up on not so much sleep.
Penguin is streaming. I was wondering, would he stream the arena? He is live as well. But yeah, he is somewhere around Chicago, that area, so it is already now middle of the night for him. I guess he will just sleep some hours. There are 4.5 hours between the end of this arena and the start of the next one. I think if he doesn't qualify, he will be. That would be my bet, that we will see him in the second. So let's see, against Harsha, so Paravian, who again, he made a very strong this year. He won the Gibraltar Open, he's had some incredible results, and I haven't seen much bullet of him, so curious to watch some games.
So far, I mean, he's been incredibly impressive. His last game was just a very, very nice win against Penguin. And here, I like the fact that this king is completely stuck. White is fighting though. White is fighting with some pressure here in the center, but black eventually wants to break, and I like this maneuver from white.
Kicking out the knight.
But the knight will reroute sooner or later to e4, and with that it'll have threats of checkmate. As we see knight e4, we're probably going to see an invasion onto the 7th rank. And overall, very, very nice here. Rook takes f2, also benefiting from defending the pawn, and we're going to see pretty much game over here. The king couldn't go to the corner because of knight f2 mate. Whoa, huge blunder.
Wow.
Huge blunder. Knight d2, a very nice resource actually. At least only losing a piece.
Yeah, incredible resource.
But it's probably going to be objectively not enough. This pawn though is a big problem, but white is able to grab the pawn on g2 and
some stalemate tricks again.
beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. Look at that speed.
The speed at which he spotted
can we
that.
see that just one more second, please? That was incredible, I thought.
Let's just see the finish of the game, because that...
To spot that with such speed, it's not
that's
this game,
not
it's
game.
the next one.
No, it's gone.
The game is
Gone,
gone
Alex.
forever, guys.
But yeah, that's, I mean, the speed at which he spotted the knight can come back. I let him queen, but I checkmate. That's very, very impressive.
It was like an endgame puzzle, and
Yeah.
that was not actually Parabian, it was his opponent, it should be said.
Let's
incredible.
watch one more Paravian game regardless, because he's playing Narayan, aka Wizard 98, and both are in the top 10, so this is another big game.
Yeah, and I, once again, I really like Parabian's position. This bishop is such a monster on the dark squares, and it's even hard to put the knight here. Well, now that the rooks are off, you can do so. But
There
sooner
were
or
some
later,
sacrifices.
yeah, before white could have just chopped here and queen takes, and then those dark squares would be too weak. Black is, however, really controlling the position, but still the bishop pair and having an extra pawn here on the queen side is very, very dangerous for black. On the other hand, he is up a pawn.
So what do you think?
D4 is a threat. This pawn is now dropping, and now black's in great shape.
Absolutely.
What do I think about
this? I was gonna ask you about this one, but I think now black should be in control. He is up 2 pawns and up 8 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, perhaps you could even consider D2, just going into a king and pawn endgame, but he doesn't risk it.
I think also the black king is very safe. It's shielded from checks. That's the one thing you want to watch out for. And here...
But be careful, because this is 1 pawn, but Narayanan thinks this square is going to be safe. But be careful, because queen f4, check now when you take, and that's a really nice move.
Very nice.
Yes, had you played pawn takes, you would have opened up this rank here, and there would have been a perpetual. But after king g6, and the speed with which Parabian recognized it and resigned, I thought is quite
Alex,
interesting.
just for you, thank you, Mr. Truth. We get to see the ending again.
This was just simply beautiful. I mean, queen b3 check, king a1. The point is there's these stalemate tricks, and white initially gave this check, unsure what are we gonna do? How am I gonna get rid of this stalemate? And now king b1 was played. Now you could have played some king move like here, and then if you promote to a queen, there would have been checkmate on c2, right?
Yeah.
So this would have been a nice possible pattern, but it's a lot less clean, because here black, if you go king d2, you're probably going to see black sort of toy with white and say, you know, we're down to very little time. I'm going to try to hang on like this. Of course, it, you know, probably is not going to work with some checkmate coming up on b2.
Also, today I guess almost everyone will have auto queen on, and they will have to know, if you want to promote, if you are considering playing in the later arenas, what is the key you have
It's
to
the
hold down?
control.
The control key you have to press to temporarily disable auto queen. So let's see the end of the game.
So queen check was played, king went to a1, and now this very, very nice trick. Knight f3, buying time by pushing the pawn. Now if you took this pawn, it would be stalemate, but he's got his eye on the c2 square. Knight e1, you can queen, there's no check, and knight c2. But what I like about this is, you know, white here has 5.4 seconds, and then he plays it instantly, and, 5.1 seconds.
1 second.
He takes 0.4 seconds, and then the rest is basically instant. So
yeah,
the speed
very
of
nice.
vision is incredible.
Very nice. Well, we have come back to a game between Paravian and Jobava. We'll watch this last Paravian game, and then we'll go back and see the standings, as there's only 53 minutes to go in this qualifier. And can we just take? Yeah. Very strange that white did not defend. The pawn on f2, and he resigns. That was a bit of a shocker. So let's go back to the tournament and have a quick look at the standing. So Arm has taken a significant lead at the top. He's 15 points clear, and Raunak is also 10 points clear. And then the rest, we can see everyone is incredibly close. Let's have a look on page 2, see if there's anyone we haven't seen before. Taken Space, we haven't seen him. It's Jordan van Foreest, one of the top, European players in this field who got up for the 9 a.m. arena. We will wait until he makes it to the first page, and then we'll watch some of his games. Shall we watch some of the leaders' games, or where would you like to go?
Yeah, let's watch a couple of the leaders' games. He's always turning in excellent performances at any of the major events on Lichess, and here it looks like he's more motivated than ever.
I think it's huge if you can qualify in the first arena, because if you don't qualify in the first, in the second there's a little bit more pressure, and if you don't qualify in the second, then it all comes down to the third arena, which will be played 11 hours from now tonight at 9 p.m. Central European time. So I think all the players who qualify in the first tournament will be very happy, to have gotten that out of the way.
Yeah.
Yes, let's just answer that one question from the chat. Is Opperwiesen playing? No, I don't see him online. He might try his luck. Opperwiesen, again, a household name on this channel, but also one of the strongest bullet players on Lichess. So maybe we'll see him in one of the other arenas. We shall see.
For now, Arm seems to be, in my view, and it's really tough to say, but in my view, it looks like he's in a bit of trouble. This knight is such a monster on c6, and this pawn on a5. White has a very simple idea. Black has exchanged the queens, but White is using some tactics there. Now, one thing that Arm has to be happy about is we've now got these opposite colored bishops. That tends to help you when you're on the worst side of things. And on top of that, this bishop is a great piece because it hits all of the white pawns on the king side. The pawn chain, the base of the chain.
But f5
also covers this square. Yeah. But still, White is under control. Everything is well defended. He maneuvered his bishop here, and now he's scooping up some pawns.
So, White, I think, is winning. The question is the time. It will all come down to a time scramble. Black is lucky that the bishop is taking... well, I was saying controlling both pawns, but not anymore, and White gets a queen, and that should be enough.
We're going to see this check, but the time.
Yeah, 2 seconds, 1 second.
Oh!
0.06. Incredible finish. But Dropstone put up fantastic resistance there. And let's watch this game between the number 1 and number 2, Arm against Raunak. For all those watching, let's remind everyone the current tournament leader is Grandmaster Haik Martirosyan from Armenia. And Raunak Sadvani is just his name, young Grandmaster from India.
Queen h3, I have to say, I'm surprised not to see it with that double attack on these 2 pawns. Maybe there was some reason to not go for it. Knight takes e6 anyway with that bishop hanging, so White is up a pawn. Very nice position overall. Maybe b3 just to try and cut off this knight. The queen is a little bit misplaced here. Maybe we're going to try and find a way to bring that queen back into the game in some way. For now, improving the situation, just dominating the only open file in the position. Will we see some pawn move? But yeah.
Black offered a draw, which is interesting. You guys cannot see it, it's just off screen. We don't see that very often in bullet games, that in an interesting middle game one player will offer a draw, but declined by Arm 7777.
It's a strange draw because Black was already in a lot of trouble and is even more trouble now. This rook on e8 falling on the next move, and that's why he resigned. So a bit of an unusual draw could it be some psychology?
Yeah, interesting. We shall see. But both players, Arm lost his fire against Dropstone, Raunak lost it just now. So we will see if the rest of the field can take advantage. Shall we watch some players we haven't seen anything of yet? Is there anyone, Alex, that you would like to watch for a bit?
Baba Ramdev is one of the younger American grandmasters, I believe.
Let's go there.
Mr. Truth can confirm that this is the case. I believe it's Akshat Chandra. Is it Akshat Chandra?
I think that rings a bell. We will get confirmation from the chat. and he's taking on Raunak here. Yeah, it is Akshat Chandra from the US. And what's going on in this middle game?
And he's, by the way, just a monster of a bullet player. Look at that score against Raunak.
Oh,
Lifetime
wow.
score.
Yes.
8.5 against 2.5.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube watching, let's remind everyone, at the below the board, those are the head-to-head scores between the two players in all games played on Lichess to this date.
Yeah, but he's got some problems to solve here. There's bishop on b2 and the queen and the rook. There's very, very serious problems. So he's allowing queen f7 check, but that's going to force you to put your king on h8. And your only saving grace in this position is that if white moves the knight, black can just boldly capture this bishop that's undefended. Otherwise, there will be some tactics. That's why Raunak is going into the tank and he's going bishop a1, defending that bishop. Now the threat is very severe. Black shuts down the bishop by going knight c3, but invites the other rook in here and the knight. All the pieces are joining in the fray, and the problem is when you move your queen, queen f7 is going to happen. So he goes queen f6, just gives up a piece, and white says, I can do even better than that. I'm gonna play in this fashion and end up a full rook.
And white is up a rook. He's also up on time. Just have to make careful. He's gonna pick up that last pawn, and that is gonna be that. There are no tricks really here for black, and we are gonna see Raunak get a win here.
Well, Babarandev's speed is impressing here. Oh,
the rook was hanging on both occasions. Yeah,
that's incredible.
He gets there, but we'll definitely have to keep an eye on Babaramdev. Actually, he's playing Fender in here, who I believe is a Grandmaster Maxim Chigayev from Russia, and he berserks. Okay, very interesting. We shall see. I would not expect to see any of these guys berserk against, 28-66. They're almost similar in rating. Maybe a bit of...
Could it be?
A bit
Could
of
it
tilt?
be a bit of tilt? I don't think people ever tilt when playing bullet. I don't think that's an emotion people experience. So yeah, no, I think it's just one of those things. Sometimes you lose a tough game. Maybe, you never know, they've played a lot, maybe there's some history and you're like, next game you just press that berserk button. So we could be seeing a bit of that. But Chigayev is quite happy. He's got 20 seconds extra on the clock, and one of the things he's doing is he's playing this closed position and he's just moving his queen around, moving his pieces, slow maneuvering,
and
that's
saying, I have 30 more seconds on the clock than you, and show me what you've got.
Yes, and look, he's toying with him. He's just toying with him. Because black really has to do something. He's under 10 seconds, and I think this is going to be the way that Chigayev wants to win, right? Because if you're a 2650 grandmaster,
but we have seen the speed. Yeah, I think you're not happy. I know some people who say, "What is this berserking? My opponent's not respecting me." I don't think it had anything to do with the opponent. But okay, only 10 seconds now. And we have seen the speed. We have seen the speed of Akshat Chandra, but here the rook drops, and that is that.
That is that. I'd be curious to see just Akshat in his next game.
Let's see.
What will he do? Will he go for that? He does not go for the berserk.
I think it's a good idea because there is still 43 minutes to go. Anyone, I think, who is, in the top 30, even 40, top 50, still has a chance with a great second half of the tournament. We have just crossed the halfway mark. They all have a chance still, so I think he understood, tilting. I'm not saying it was necessarily tilt, but berserking your way is not gonna help, and best stop that as soon as possible. So it's all the same. There's someone new has arrived on the scene. Chesser22 from Ukraine. Shall we watch a couple of games? Do you know who that is?
No, but we're gonna hope that the chat can continue their detective work. So far, they're 100%.
Yes, it is Kirill Shevchenko. Thank you very much to the chat. So, what is this? At first sight, I like white.
Sometimes you can. It's not so silly. It's not so silly. It's kind of typical plans here, but for now, black White has to take care of this rook. And White's pieces are more active. He's going for the check, and now after bishop here, White has to go passive. On the other hand, he's up a pawn. Knight g4, can you grab this and say one piece for one piece? He goes a different direction. I really like this, undermining this knight on e5. You cannot take this pawn because of the knight. Queen a8, creating x-ray threats. Those are shut down. You cannot play f5, of course, because of the pin. Knight g4, queen takes, and the point is you have discovered checks, but I'm just going to go queen f3. That's his idea. And now after king g1, we see more pressure, but White can bring that queen back and maybe offer that queen exchange on e5. And we see that Chesser has played just a strong game here. Oh, but rook d3.
That rook was just hanging, and instead he hung his bishop, and now it's a drawn ending, I guess.
Well, White is pressing here. White is pressing, but I think we're gonna see. Well, now I think White is winning because the pawns will drop. I don't know if you could have held it a little bit a few moves earlier, but this position here, after g5 for sure, this position is lost because the White king is too advanced and there's no way to defend these pawns. So nice game by White.
Let's see another one. I have to say, Chesser, I'm not too familiar with Kirill Shevchenko, so I'd be curious to see at least one more game, and then we'll go back to the standings again.
Yeah, I have to say I haven't seen anything of this player, but here he's got a nice record against his opponent, the Batman, a 2-0 score, and he's going to try and make it 3.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the players, with 40 minutes to go. He is in ninth position. Let's remind everyone, only the top 5 will qualify. So that's what it all comes down to. You have to get into the top 5. Yeah.
There is a slight chance if you're feeling a bit lucky, there is a slight chance that if you come 6th, maybe somebody will play two tournaments and come top 5, but that's not where you want to be.
Better make it top 5 and not have to worry about these things.
So White is just saying, how are you if you move the knight, you're going to lose the rook. So I think that might just be a piece coming up here. And what's worse is this rook is actually really struggling to find any life at all. So he goes instead, he gives up the rook instead of the knight, and that's a very nice idea, breaking down the center and at least saying to White, maybe I can now win material. Maybe queen here. Okay, he goes in a different direction. He accepts queen exchange, and f5 is a strange move. You can take here and then just go bishop d1 or bishop d1. Otherwise there were back rank problems here.
And White should be in control here. Is going to bring the king.
But the pawn is a little bit scary now. e2, we can see this check, but the piece is going to drop. And now we've got
a race. But a race that black is winning.
A race that black is winning.
That's what. But the clock situation. What a turnaround. I really thought White was in control, but no.
To be fair, I think the problem was White was just so low on time, and black just kept putting tricks and nothing to do.
So let's watch. I said we'd go away, but let's stick around because he is playing the tournament leader RM777. So let's see how he does it against the tournament leader.
Yeah, so White's now got this pawn very, very advanced, and the question is, can black scoop that pawn up with bishop f8, etc., or knight e8, or can White convert it into something very, very dangerous? Black's queen getting a little bit distracted here on a3.
Yeah, that queen doesn't look too happy, and it's lost and it's gone.
And the worst part is, you get a rook and a bishop for it, but now with this pawn here on c5, this guy's a monster for life. Pawn on d6. So I think White is in good shape. Maybe black is just going to give up an exchange to try and break down these pawns. That's what he goes for. And maybe he's going to try and collect a bunch of pawns. But black's problems haven't ended yet. This knight is not defended, this bishop is not defended, and usually that leads to some tactical possibilities. Black, however, he's getting the position under a bit of control, but still a lot of pawns are very, very weak. The bishop is very weak, and we see White's queen just hoovering up a couple of pawns.
Yeah. White has done such a great job of, just getting into the enemy lines and just picking up the pawns one by one, trading some pieces. But yeah, this one, Still some work, a lot of work to be done. Is it even winning? I've never seen this ending before.
I have to say, I would assume it's a win, especially because the knight is in a lot of trouble.
Of course, well, but why would you?
The problem is he couldn't bring the knight. Back. He couldn't bring the knight back to his king, and white would just infiltrate with on the light squares. So it's actually very nice. I agree with you. I mean, well, it's not a matter of agreeing. I share the same experience as you. I've never seen that endgame.
If someone can let us know, is it a win? If the pieces I think were a bit, the knight was too far away. But if the pieces, let's say, are in the center, can someone enlighten us? Is this a win for the queen, or can the side with the two pieces hold a draw? Let's see, where do we go? Jasugi, he's up in third, and we haven't seen a single game of his yet. So let's go there. Follow him for a bit.
For now, the only player who I think is 100% going to end up in top 5 is Mr. Arm. Marty Rosie.
And the draw. A draw agreed. In this drawish night end game with both still, quite a bit of time on the clock. Yeah, so Arm is almost at 100 points already. Very impressive. Shall we watch? Penguin has just made it back into the top 10. Okay, let's go back to Jasugi. Yeah.
Sorry, I took him.
Yeah. And he's playing against Arm. So a big game, and we'll watch 1 or 2 Jasugi games, and then we'll go to Penguin. So Arm, who has been showing some incredible speed and incredible resourcefulness so far. I mean, he's also just very strong grandmaster. He's probably, let's not call him safe just yet, but probably, going to qualify today. But behind him, the fight rages on, and Jasugi will be eager to get a result. He's picked up a pawn.
Picked up a pawn, but this knight, where is it going? I'm surprised that he takes a4, because now the knight can be defended, but maybe he saw deeper. Knight d2, knight b4, really nice tactics you cannot take without losing the queen.
What is this?
He's going all in with this pawn, and knight d7 covering the c5 square is super, super nice. We're going to see this.
Once again, we'll see this material imbalance of queen. Arm won it once. I mean, Arm must be smiling as well to get this in the second game in a row, yeah?
Yeah, this is just crazy. On some level, maybe... he missed a great chance to take that pawn, though. A great chance, and that pawn is going to make all the difference. So a few moves ago here, he had here this opportunity, I think, right here, after queen a8, to grab that pawn, and Arm made him regret that miss.
So let's watch one more game by Jasugi. Let's try and catch a win, because he's only a national master. A lot of the guys we see at the top today are either GMs, mostly GMs, actually. And so I think he's one of the players, over the board. Doesn't have the same quite level as the others, but online is a very different beast. Mouse skills and speed are so important. And tactical vision, I think, in Bullet is a huge factor. So let's see. I see in the chat a lot of questions. Is this player going to play? Is that player going to play? I don't know. We will find out. We will find out today. The next arena, it's now almost 10 a.m. here in Central Europe. The next arena will start in 5 hours. And the last one tonight in 11 hours from now. This one seems to be a demolition job from Jasugi. I thought I'm only gonna speak for like 10-20 seconds, but I missed the whole game.
Jasugi went in for a crush. He didn't use much time, 14 seconds.
Very, very nice. And here we see Penguin. Penguin is one of the players. Let's take 1 second with 32 minutes to go. So we're getting into the last third of the tournament. I think Arm should be safe, but behind him, everyone is so close. So let's watch some Penguin games. Penguin, I would be shocked if Penguin didn't qualify in one of the tournaments. He is arguably, one of the very best. I would put him in the top 5 best Bullet players, at least in the world.
Yeah, I think that's not too controversial. But black is pressing him against the penguin berserk. He could have taken the rook and forced a draw, but look at what black is doing. He's really going for it against penguin.
He's gonna throw in this check. Penguin saw it coming, but penguin is...
Oh, he's gonna take the knight. He got there. Penguin got there.
But penguin might even win this game.
Oh, he's so sick. He's so sick. He's so... Don't do this. Do not try and trick penguin.
Penguin is just incredible. What did we just witness there? That was insane. Incredible. Penguin Grandmaster Andrew Tang from the United States. I think maybe even the fastest man. I think, in bullet, like I said, I put him in my top 5 because I think arguably Magnus is the strongest bullet player maybe in the world. Ali Reza is up there, but I think Penguin is the fastest. I think if bullet was played at a 10-second time control, let's say, like all these hyper bullet, ultra bullet, I think Penguin is the fastest man with the mouse. Some of the things I have seen him do is just simply astonishing.
I mean, what he did just there.
Like, I thought it was over. The knight's gonna throw in a check and that's gonna be that. But, wow. Wow. And here we see a double berserk. Very brave. I don't know, did you see who berserked first?
No.
Okay, so let's see the game. Penguin, I think this one, there's not too much is gonna happen. Penguin is up 6-7 seconds on the clock. He's also up in exchange. And he has made it. For once, we are not jinxing the players. Penguin is now in the top 5 and he is on fire. He has the streak going. And I think the game that we just saw, the previous one, let's put Penguin on our camera, on our TV, I think it's gonna give you a boost as well, because with only half an hour to go, those games can make a big difference. Like, either you start a streak or it's a big loss and you have to start all over again. So I think Penguin could have gotten this momentum now, and we'll watch another game or two to see if he can keep it up.
Yeah, this is a really important game because now he is on fire for sure. He is on that streak, and so this game counts for double the points.
He's playing against Grandmaster.
Or maybe he's not.
He's on a streak, yeah. I like this for Penguin. The Black King looks somewhat vulnerable.
Yeah, and this knight looks like a great piece. He does exchange it, but on the other hand, as you say, the king is extremely weak, and this pawn on d5 is a little bit more of a target, and that's what he goes for here, what you were saying, going for the attack. Maybe we're going to see some move like c4 as well. If you take, the rook would be hanging, well, not hanging, but the queen was defending 2 pieces. The action is very, very fast here. White goes back because he has some problems here in the back rank. And
that's
black,
a big blunder. I thought black had fought back so well.
Yeah.
And that's when the blunder crept in, and Penguin takes the rook and the game. He's made, okay, this is a huge game. Penguin GM with the white pieces against Arm, aka Heikmar Tirosian, the tournament leader, and Penguin has made his way up to 3rd.
Yeah, and Penguin playing his usual Queen's Gambit exchange positions, and he's gotten a very nice one, in my view. This pawn here is just very, very weak. And these kind of positions are nicer to play, very nice to play, especially nice to play in bullet, I think, because it's hard to hang on to these pawns that have to be defended by pieces, right? So right now, black is doing a great job of that, but white's pawn structure is just a little bit easier, and we see that pawn already falling, and white now is going to support the knight. That's a piece you want to support with all of black's pieces aiming at it. And then we see the other pawn on e4. We see that white's got his sights locked on that pawn. Black, in the meantime, is trying to generate some kind of counterplay with an attack on the king side. White says, no thank you, queens are off the board. And now we might even see some tactics here. Rook takes and just try to simplify the position. Although, it has to be said, black is still in with a chance. It's only 1 pawn, and this rook check maneuver is nice to get behind the pawn. Now, white keeps this extra pawn because he was targeting here. And now king g7. This is a little unusual for those who haven't looked at sort of king and pawn endgames. It's very typical. The idea of putting the king here is that White would like to move his rook here, and when you take this pawn, check you. So if you put your king, let's say here, there would be these kind of tactical tricks. So king on g7 is the perfect square. These two pawns are falling, and these positions, when you've got these double pawns, they're not so clear, although you have to fancy Penguin, especially because now he's probably going to be 3 pawns up, and that should make it quite straightforward. He defends this pawn so he can take with the king, and now he's just driving the pawns up the board.
Also, against other players, you might have some hope, to trick them on the clock, but we have just seen what Penguin is capable of. Jens is giving us the answer that we were asking. So we were wondering while we watched Penguin take care of business here. He's going to inflict a defeat on the tournament leader Arm. The queen wins against the combo of knight and bishop in about 43 moves when they are located in the center. If they are cut to the corner, it's only 30 moves. Thank you very much to the all-knowing chat, and it's great to see you all with us this morning.
Yeah, very interesting, actually.
Penguin berserked his Penguin. I mean, I think we switched to his games right at the right moment. I think this game, where he won with 0.004, I think made a huge difference. We see Penguin has won all his games since then. He also stopped Arm's streak, and he is so confident that he even went for the berserk here.
And in this position, he's in great shape. The white king is not looking great. You could have some knight g4 ideas, and then knight takes d5 is a nice idea. You give up, or an interesting idea. You give up the 2 rooks for a queen. Usually the 2 rooks are worth a little bit more, but in bullet, look at the white position. I mean, it's quite tough to defend it. The king can be checked a lot, and black is just safe. Also, black is up 2 pawns. In addition with his queen, so now that's 3 pawns, and he's in great control. He's got 11 seconds against. He's under 10 seconds, but for Penguin this should not be a problem. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, he's gonna have to push those pawns fast. He's going to defend the pawn on f7 first, and then he's gonna push those pawns. 5 seconds on the clock, but the rooks are tricky as well, though. They're gonna keep harassing the queen, but I think now queen c1 and a new queen, and and this Penguin would win even with,
I think 0.2 seconds he wins it. I'm not even kidding. It's just
very clean conversion. Wouldn't have expected. I think let's stick with Penguin. He's been on absolute fire,
and he is now number 2 in the tournament. Yeah, so he is.
And he's playing Wizard Naranayan. I see there are some more people joining us who are surprised to see us live so early. We are commentating, let's remind everyone, on the Katara International Chess Tournament 2020, sponsored by Katara in association with the Katara Chess Association and the Ministry of Culture and Sports and Lead Chess. And we will be here not just now, but there are 2 more arenas coming today. The next one will start at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and the last one tonight at 9 p.m. 5 players qualify from each arena, and this is the first one. So you see the standings above our camera, the top 5 there. That is where we're at. So you have to get into top 5 to qualify. And I'm reading, Andrew Tang is very impressive. I mean, yeah, what we're seeing now is incredible.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's done it before and he'll do it again. But each time it impresses you. Just the sheer speed, as you said. And this guy is probably the fastest player in the world. Yeah,
absolutely. And let's see how far he can, because I think Penguin could even, make a push to... I don't think the players will care too much. They were $10,000 is the prize fund. It is the best priced bullet tournament ever. It will probably also be the strongest ever. But there was no prizes today. Whether you come first, second, third, fourth, or fifth does not make a difference. The prize money will all be decided in the final on Wednesday. So I think Andrew will not care too much if he comes first or second. Yes, what is going on with that king? Where is that king running to? Will we see a draw here? No. Okay, so Penguin up a piece, and once again, I think 6 seconds is plenty for Andrew here.
Let's see, he's done it all the other times. Will he do it again here?
He will. He will.
It's just incredible.
It's too easy. It is too easy. Quick look at the tournament standings. We will come back to Penguin. Penguin only now 20 points behind Arm. 22 minutes to go. And the battle rages on. Let's stick with Penguin. I've been too impressed. So I want to see how long he can keep up the streak. And as soon as anything drops, we will go back and follow the players who are, fighting for those 5 qualifying spots. If you are watching and you like what you are seeing, you would like to try to play yourself, that is also possible. We have just been focusing on the title players, but the tournament is open to everyone. So if you would like to try your hand at Bullet, you can find all the information either here, if you type !Katara in the chat, that will give you all the information. It's also, of course, on the Lichess front page. And you could try and play yourself in the next arena this afternoon or this evening. So, how is Penguin? Penguin this time, he's down in exchange, but he has 2 pawns. The pawns are a bit weak.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this could be the game. Dropstone certainly is objectively, he's winning, but Bullet is very tricky, knights are very tricky, and White is going to grab this pawn here on g7. And now, f5, and he's going to try and cast some kind of a mating net around the white king and the black king. And after the king goes to f6, I'm starting to see this very differently. We could even see some perpetual check. King goes to f7 and f6. And we're probably going to see that knight move. If we only didn't have the king, we would have seen some checkmate.
Still tricky.
But the time is a huge factor here.
I guess black is completely winning, but Andrew is gonna set maximum tricks.
He's gonna go for that stalemate trick. He doesn't get there. He does not get there. This was a really nice move, queen e4. You couldn't take the queen because of the pin here, forcing only move king h6, and a very nice find there, mate in 2.
Oh, well, let's stick around for this one. Will we watch it from Penguin's perspective or from Arm's? We have just been watching Penguin all the time, so to not confuse our viewers, we'll watch it from Penguin's side. And Penguin here is up against the tournament leader. So big clash.
Yeah, and Penguin has just lost his second place position, so he'll be out for blood here. It's a big game.
What do you make of the way? Actually, would you agree that in Bullet it does not matter so much? I was gonna say, what do you think? How did Black get out of the opening? It doesn't matter so much in Bullet, as long as you're not, struggling too much or completely in big trouble.
I think openings in Bullet, they definitely matter. But I think the most important stuff is finding positions that you understand quite well. Not like the exact theory, but that you just sort of have a good feel for them.
Yeah.
And also some types of openings are easier to play. Like, for example, the Benko Gambit, you sacrifice a pawn. It's not considered the best opening at the highest level over the board.
But you're putting the pressure, you know the structures, you know the plans. I agree. I mean, in my experience, the faster the time controls, those tricky openings, if you know them well. Also, gambits are absolutely playable in Bullet. So, yeah, and there you're pointing out there was a nice tactic.
Maybe he rejected it because a little intermezzo check, but it seemed very, very interesting. Penguin is getting squeezed here by Arm, who is now up a pawn. And
Arm is up on the clock as well, so I think Arm is gonna take this one and consolidate his lead. Those pawns are just gonna run, and of course Penguin. Okay, he's setting up some tricks, but it's not gonna be enough, and he resigns here. Okay, 18 minutes to go. We're really getting into the money time. There is no money on the line, but qualification will guarantee you a prize. So in fact I did say when Jordan makes it to the first page, we'll watch some Jordan Van Foreest games. He's absolutely still...
Yeah, sorry. Just the one thing to say is one thing I wanted to comment on is, so it's top 5 spots right now. Jasugi is in 5th place, but I don't think he's too relaxed, you know, with drops, with like 5 grandmasters breathing down his neck here. So
while you were speaking, Jordan has disappeared from the top 10 again, and he's been replaced by another Lichess. I think he must be one of the most active players. Let's watch one Jordan game. I did promise it. So we'll watch one game of Jordan's, and then well, he's probably just awaiting a game, and then we'll stick with the top guys and the battle for the 5 qualifying spots. So, I didn't pick the most exciting game. Queens came off right from the start.
Come on. Queens off the board is good. It's nice, slow, rich positional struggles. And here, I feel like Black is a little bit overworked. His king, defending everything, and a nice little tactical shot. But Jordan saw more. And Rook D8, I think, is just frustration.
What was that?
Well, I think it's a mix of frustration at getting tricked here, and also hoping maybe you'll pre-move king takes bishop, and then whoops, your rook on h8 drops. This is a huge game. These are 2 of the players who have been making that push towards the top 5, and they're running out of time. It's 16 minutes on the clock.
16 minutes. It goes so incredibly quickly. I feel like we just started. All the arenas, the 3 qualifying arenas, let's remind everyone a final time. All 3 arenas are 90 minutes long, and the top 5 qualify from each arena. The final takes place on Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central European. It will be a knockout format, very exciting. On Wednesday, we'll have the player cameras as well. And there's one player who is seeded to the final. It's none other than world champion Magnus Carlsen.
And here we're seeing in this game, White is trying to attack, but at the end, he gives up that hope because he needed to get his own king to safety. We're seeing Black driving this knight towards f5.
That's a big knight on f5.
Yeah, great square. Because White can only kick it with his pawn, but if he does this, his king is going to be very weak. Bishop c3 seemed like a blunder here. Could we have seen rook takes c3 with rook takes, queen takes being possible? I think. But he grabs the piece anyway. Threat of checkmate. Knight f1, I'm surprised. Rook takes, but rook takes g3. Really nice.
Who is Sumsar again? I knew this and I know this, but the chat can help us out. Also, Jabafa, I'm reading, is in 9th position, so he's also at Rasmus Svane. Thank you, Truth.
Well, very promising, very young German grandmaster, right around 2,600 in strength.
So Rasmus here, he is up a rook here. Jordan is trying to bring the king to the rescue, but the king gets trapped on h5, and that is checkmate. So 14 minutes. We are in the last 14 minutes of the tournament, and Penguin has dropped a bit again. Sumsar, actually Rasmus. Well, we haven't seen him. Shall we watch Rasmus for a short while?
Sure.
I think Arm should be safe. Raunak probably too, so let's watch Rasmus, and he's playing against the number 2 Raunak Sadvani, so that's another big game. There was one question: are we not gonna play any of the arenas? No, we will not.
Luckily for the participants, we are otherwise preoccupied commentating it. Otherwise, there'd be 2 less spots. Yeah,
absolutely. So we will be commentating all the action. We will be back in just under 5 hours, and then again tonight, and we will also be commentating on the finals on Wednesday. Okay, so let's look at this. What is happening here?
Sumsar in control. He's got some extra pawn. The black pieces are a little bit cramped for space. White just needs a plan. Bishop e4, I'm not 100% on. Could be good. This bishop seems like a very strong piece, but Black's piece is now harassing the queen, and you could go queen d3.
Will we see a draw here?
Maybe he's just being pragmatic, but no. But Black wants more. Maybe he just feels with 30 minutes to go, he needs it.
Well, Raunak I thought should be more or less. So I'm surprised that Raunak is the one who decided to go for it, but we shall see.
You're actually right.
If he's rewarded.
It's a bit of an unusual one, and maybe that's what White was counting on. He was saying, okay, let's both make a quick draw.
Yeah.
That's an extra point.
It looks like he is going to be rewarded for playing on. He has picked up a piece, and White White has nothing here and resigns. Okay. So let's see. It's so incredibly close at the top. I'm going to make this window a bit.
The next Penguin game is very, very important to give him almost lock the tournament because he's got that fire streak.
Oops.
Meaning he's playing for more points. If he can win here...
Shall we go to Penguin?
Yeah, let's take a look at least at the game he's playing right now.
Should be coming up in a second. He has just beaten Mod Pro. And now he's up against Wizard 98 and Naranayan, who has dropped quite a bit. He is now in 13th. It might already be too late for Wizard 98, but a huge game for Penguin. I know he has many fans in the chat, so we'll watch this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it and say if Penguin wins this, I think the rest will be very, very straightforward for him.
Penguin, as you guys can see at the standing on top of our camera, Penguin, one of the 3 players to have reached 100 points in 3rd place between Ronak and Arm. And okay, a balanced position so far.
He's lost he's down a pawn. He's recovered that pawn, but I like Penguin's position overall because although he was down a pawn, his pieces were more developed, and now in the end the dust is settled. But Black is the one with a bad pawn structure here. Penguin goes for the pawn. You're probably going to see at some point losing this pawn on b2, equalizing the situation. Is a draw going to be something?
Black offers draw. White declines draw.
So that answers the question, which is, is a draw something that White would like? Clearly not.
I think Penguin, he wants to keep the streak. I think otherwise, if he wasn't on streak, he might, have accepted, but he wants to keep the fire icon. As you can see, we are seeing here the top 6 above our head. He's one of only 2 players. Well, actually, both of them. It will kill both their fires, but...
checkmate is threatened.
Yeah.
And now checkmate is threatened again. Rook here and rook here. Black is escaping to give more space for his king. But it has to be said, Penguin is in great shape here. He takes the pawn like this. And now, at some point, could you try and undermine? It's now actually Black's turn to create a threat of mate.
How do you stop mate? He's gonna run with the king.
But he had to give up a lot of material. He ended up losing that game. So this was actually, this is what we were talking about. That was a very important game. If we view the tournament, Penguin is now in 4th place and 6th place behind him. Although it may be a 7-point gap, he does have the streak. With 10 minutes to go, it's possible. Everything is possible. But imagine the difference if he had been on 104 points. He would have been here, secure in 3rd place, and I think quite safe. So that was a huge game.
So we're under 10 minutes. So at the moment, but it's so close. It is so incredibly close. Wait, I don't even know.
I think we should take a look at Jasugi. He's fighting to get into top 5. He's on a streak. He's the only one on a streak actually in the top 8. In the top 8.
Let's go to Jasugi.
But he doesn't have quite the opponent you want to face in this position.
Apologies. Okay, we are back. So he's playing Arm, the tournament leader. As you said, not the dream pairing. Arm has been incredibly impressive. Poor Jordan is dropping down. I see in the chat. Yeah, I think those who are not with 8 minutes to go, you're looking at these guys are only going to play 4 or 5 more games. So it's really, really crunch time now. And Jasugi has... Oh, but that's a big pawn drop on e6.
Yeah, Jasugi was off to a crushing start, but it seems like Arm is starting to turn things around. This check seems like a nice move. Black gives up a pawn, but the damage is done. The king is on e7. It's really not ideal. On the other hand, I really like what Black is doing here, trying to find some safety for the king. Knight g6 check, however, forcing more material losses. That was a huge point. The point, by the way, was that after knight g6, if you didn't give up the rook, the queen was hanging. And now you grab a pawn, but the e-file opens up, and look at those rooks. The effectiveness of that extra exchange is too much. Jasugi resigns, and that's a pity because he got off to a great start in the opening.
Absolutely, and that means that he's overtaken by Rasmus, who is on fire. So maybe we should watch a game of Rasmus's.
Yeah, so...
See if he can keep the fire, because Rasmus is one of the players, who's in 5th right now. He will be hoping to qualify, but every game now is basically a crunch game. Every game could be decisive one way or another. But this one, he seems in great shape.
He's in great shape, but those 2 passed pawns on the queen side can be a little bit tricky. They're not very advanced for now. Black covers the squares. Knight b4 seems like a very nice move, but the pawn is moving forward. Knight here. And rook a6, the idea is you want to invite as black to take like this so that the knight is pinned. And in the end, we see that the pawns do cost the knight, and you're up 1 pawn, but in theory, this is a draw. On the other hand, in bullet, it tends to be really difficult to draw this as white. That's somewhat surprising to people maybe who haven't played so much bullet. But the reason is the extra pawn just gives you more possibilities to create some threats. In an over-the-board game, this would be quite a relatively straightforward draw.
Yeah. And here, well, as you said, it will come down a lot to...
The dance of the rooks here. Rook here, rook c4, and rook here. And this is really typical bullet stuff. You go, you see your opponent is moving the rook around, and you try and hope that they pre-move into that square. And we see black getting the upper hand there.
6 minutes to go. For at the moment, these are the 5. They are all over 100 points.
Yeah, and Gimakos, by the way, a League Chess regular and fan favorite. He is making big push with 2 successful berserks. He's in 7th place at the moment. He's got 97 points.
There we go. Let's go. Jasugi, a final push. We'll see if the only NM, up there can make a push. I think at the top, Arm should be safe, Raunak should be safe. And the rest is still, 5 minutes to go, 5.5 minutes
Very nice tactics, by the way. D4 here seems to give up, seems to just lose a pawn, but the point was E7. That bishop was covering the square. It's a really nice little trick. And Jasugi has black where he wants him. He can even consider some bishop takes h6 because of the strike on the queen. He goes a little bit more safe with bishop here. And one question, where do you go with your queen? Knight takes a2 played, and I think that was because of the difficulty of finding a good square with the queen. So,
but Jasugi firmly in control. He is up a rook and a piece. We saw him earlier, that game we watched, he was, a piece up, or he was doing very well, and then disaster struck. So here he will have to keep his cool. He's in absolutely a must-win situation.
Yeah, he's in that place. A lot of people want to be in that place. It's right within striking distance.
But not today, when there's 5 qualifying spots. So, he also will be hoping to get the win as soon as possible, because only 4.5 minutes remain, and his opponent resigns, so that's good news. Good news for Jasugi.
Yeah, he had built up that 10-point advantage, that 10-second advantage, and...
they equal points, but Rasmus is on fire.
Yeah.
But Rasmus, let's see the end of his game. Rasmus here with the black pieces. He is winning. He's up on time. That will be a huge win. Huge win for Rasmus here. And he gets it. Big, massive win for Rasmus.
So now
Much pro.
Dropstone, I think, is a man to watch out for. He's now in contention. He wants to break in, and he's on fire, I believe.
Yeah, he is on fire, yeah.
So this is a huge game. This is a Russian Grandmaster. He actually won...
David Parafian, he won Gibraltar.
Beating Wang Hao, one of the candidates, one of the players in the candidates tournament. Bishop takes b2. Was there some trick there? No.
So white is up 2 pawns. Bishop's off the same color. There goes a 3rd pawn. And Invention decides he'd rather get another game than suffer here. But that's good news for Dropstone. And suddenly we have a GM only top 5. Mod Pro and Jasugi have both dropped out. Where do we go next?
Jasugi, I feel...
Rasmus against Penguin. Let's go there.
Let's go. So, Penguin seems to be safe now. He's in the 2nd place. 3 minutes to go. But Rasmus needs to not lose.
Yeah.
He needs to not lose. And he's got just the kind of position that you don't lose. Opposite color bishops. But on the other hand, Penguin is a very, very fast player, very tricky player, and White cannot relax just yet. In an over-the-board game, this would be a draw very, very quickly with those opposite color bishops, same amount of pawns.
But the king is going to try to run to a7.
Yes.
And they draw agreed.
They do agree on a draw. I guess it just suits both of them to pick up a pawn rather than fight it out, try and get it in another full game. So that's a smart strategy. Although that does mean...
Dropstone. It means Dropstone, he's on fire. Does he currently not have a game?
So the key is here, Dropstone needs to win because if he loses, he could potentially get overtaken.
And he's up against... Oh,
and he's lost.
He's lost.
He has lost, and that's a huge loss because what we see here is we see 105, and Jasugi is going to be very happy about that.
Let's see Jasugi's game.
Because he just berserked and won in the last game. Yeah. He's 1 point away, so we need to see...
Incredibly close. 1 minute 40. 1 minute 40 to go.
But he does not have the kind of position you want to have. You're being attacked here. The queen and the knight combining against the king. Barely any defense. Jasugi is really fighting tooth and nail here. Black, however, is bumping up the pressure. He wants rook g6. This bishop, you could go passive, but this is nothing short of depressing. Although actually taking this pawn, much smarter idea. He's managing to solve a lot of his problems, but he's still really pinned down here. It's like you're almost in Zugzwang. You can't move the rook, you can't move the queen. If you move the king, so forget the almost. It really was Zugzwang. And that's a piece. Knight f1 is going to be a full rook in the end after the exchange.
Ooh,
Queen f3!
That was a huge mouse slip.
That's so... Jasugi gets a huge stroke of luck here. Will he be able to convert though with 7 seconds? With 7 seconds. Black is not giving up here. We could see some checkmating threat. Queen e5 is made on the board. And he's really fast. He's going to push the pawns. He's going to checkmate. I think Jasugi is going to do it. And that is a gift from above here with that blunder. So
30 seconds to go.
32 seconds.
It's not going to be enough.
He did not make it. And he did not get paired. And he's got... Oh, that's brutal.
No, he is paired. He is
paired. He needs to convert this in under 20 seconds.
20 seconds to go.
Black resigned. I thought White maybe had resigned. Black resigned and Jasugi's hopes. We really got behind Jasugi towards the end. But unfortunately, it just was not enough. He ends up 1 point away.
That's a heartbreaking finish for Jasugi, who Baku's in the chat is informing us, he might not. Let's watch this to finish it. No, it finished. Penguin beat. And I think everything is done. We're finished. And that means that we have 5 qualifiers. And in the end, they are all a GM only finish at the top. I'll remove these standings now. So congratulations to Arm7777, aka Grandmaster Heike Martirosyan from Armenia. Congratulations to Penguin GM1, Andrew Tang from America. Grandmaster Dropstone David Paravian from Russia, Grandmaster Raunak Sadvani from India, and Grandmaster Rasmus Vane from Germany, aka Sumsar42, who are the 5 qualifiers from this first arena. But it was so close. Heartbreak for Jasugi. Also Jimakos, the only non-titled player here on the front page. Mod Pro was at the top for so long, but in the end just dropped off. For Jasugi, a small consolation prize is there are 3 arenas. Let's admit Arm said, I want to play again, because these people, they like to play bullet. They play a lot of bullet. Let's say Arm plays again, or Penguin plays again, or Dropstone, and they get a higher result. He has some theoretical chances to get in, but he will have to hope. Well, not just hope, he will surely try his luck again. This afternoon, let's remind everyone, all the players who did not qualify will get another chance, and they will get another chance this afternoon. We will be back for Arena B. It will start at 3 p.m. Central European Time. That is 4.5 hours from now. We will be back with all the action from Arena B. And then tonight, the final chance, Arena C, starts at 9 p.m. Central European Time. And the top 5 from each tournament will qualify to the finals, which take place on Wednesday, where there will be 16 seeded players. It will be a very exciting knockout. And the one wild card that waits on Wednesday in the finals is Magnus Carlsen. So that was just the beginning, Alex. plenty more action to come this afternoon.
Yeah, and congrats to everyone who took it down, and it's going to be tough for those who did not get into the top 5, because we are going to see the monster that is Alireza Firouzja competing in at least one of the remaining events.
I think for sure he will play the second. I don't think he will put all his eggs in one basket and let it come down to just the third arena. Also, there's some other monsters we haven't seen yet. Sergei Zhigalko comes to mind, one of the top bullet players on leeches. So I think the competition is just going to get tougher this afternoon when everyone, for who it was too early in the morning when they have woken up and they joined the fray. So we're in for plenty more excitement this afternoon. We will be... Oh, that's the bell. That's the postman, the ring of the bell. We are going to end the show here. Guys, thank you so very much for watching, and we will see you this afternoon. Thank you for watching. See you then. Bye-bye.
See you guys.